Good morning. Hi, friends. This is just going to be a casual conversation between us, okay? Just a private conversation among Black women. Uh, I've noticed, especially being a very online person, right? Being a person who's always online. I have noticed Black women taking on white women ways. It's annoying me, but more importantly, it's affirming to me that it's time for Black women to get away from these white people. So I'd just like to talk with you about that for a little while today. Hi, my name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter, creator of House Sitter School, and co creator of Exodus Summit. And on this channel, we talk about and help Black women take sabbaticals and career breaks. We help Black women move out of the country, move abroad. We help Black women bop around the world as a nomad, all while embracing ease. If these things sound good to you, go ahead and subscribe. I'll wait. I don't like this. I'll wait. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, please, while I fix my hair. Thank you. And then turn on notifications, ring the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I do post a new video or when I go live with my friends. Hi, friends. How's everybody? I'm still in Bogota, Colombia. I'm still in the co-living house. Uh, if I had gotten myself ready to earlier today, I would be in a different room where Martin Luther King wouldn't be looking over our shoulder, but I didn't do it. I wasn't ready in time. So hi. Hello, good morning. I'm practicing reading with my progressive lenses. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle and Kemi and Reset with Celeste. How you doing, Celeste? Good morning, Shantae and LaRonda. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Committed to the Journey. Good morning, Igami. Hi, Suzanne. Hello, Dropping Knowledge Bombs. Good morning, Danica and Beverly. Parisiani. Hi. Hey, The Real Vicky B. How's everybody? Hi, Manny. Edith Donaldson. Hey, Tina. Hey, Charla. Hey, Coffee Spills the Tea. How's everybody today? Um, yeah, so I'm online. I'm the co-creator of the Exodus Summit Facebook community where over 25,000 women, we have over 25,000 women. And it's a very Black woman place. It's a Black woman space. And so we see Black women talking to each other in a very particular way, a very loving and kind way. But every now and then I have noticed, hi, Stephanie, I've noticed an uptick in white womanish behaviors in my online spaces. And I just wanted to chat about it. Have you noticed this too? Julesy, who is Julesy on YouTube, I saw a post on Instagram by Julesy. Let me tell you why this is on my mind today. Julesy posted on Instagram that she had done a TikTok live with a woman, an attorney, a Black woman attorney, and posted several clips of the TikTok live where she said to the Black woman, "I disagree." And the Black woman's response was, "I was attacked by a Black woman. I've been attacked. I was under attack." And the conversation was literally Julesy being, "No, I disagree. And here's why." The conversation was about the woman who says she's an attorney. I don't know, girl. I don't know. What she was originally saying was the civil rights movement in the United States was a movement about asking the government to follow the law. And the current protests about immigration are asking the government to break the law. Absolutely, like, it sounds ridiculous because the laws were not on the books. That is why we needed a civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was about breaking the current law, the existing law, writing new law, right? Like that, I thought that sounded ridiculous, right? Julesy, instead of saying that sounds ridiculous and what kind of lawyer are you anyway, said, "I disagree. And here's why. And this is a complicated conversation and whatever. And the woman was like, "I was attacked." And I'm like, Black women, sometimes, some Black women, not most, not even a lot, but some, acting real white womanish out here because that whole I'm attacked thing is white women's number one favorite tactic. It's their favorite response anytime they feel uncomfortable, anytime they're challenged, anytime they're not getting their way. It's a temper tantrum. I feel attacked. I am attacked is a temper tantrum, right? That grown up white women are allowed to have for some reason. And I've heard this more and more lately. On this channel, I guess I should say this, on this channel, we talk to Black women with loving kindness. And so this is not about bashing Black women. This is about me saying their awfulness is rubbing off on Black people. And it's time for Black women to get up and go. Okay. If you don't want to turn into the awfulness that is white women in the United States, the soullessness, the policing, right? If you don't want to turn into the gaslighting, right? If you don't want to turn into I'm the perpetrator, but I'm going to pretend to be the victim and people are going to be on my side. If you don't want to turn into that, I think it's a good idea to leave that environment because it's rubbing off. Okay. It's rubbing off. I don't know. We had a comment in the Facebook group. Rashida asked people in the Exodus Summit Facebook community to share testimonials. Beautiful testimonials. Listen, Rashida told me that they were there. She said, go read the testimonials in the Facebook group. You know, when you do a type of work out in the world that is helpful to people, you have to get testimonials for other people to know that you're legit, but also for your own self to know that like it was worth it. The time and the effort, the tears have been worth it. And so Rashida said, you need to go read those testimonials. And I went over to that post and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be crying today. Okay. I'm a Cancer. If I start crying, I'm crying about everything I've ever cried about. I'm succumbing to the tears. I don't have it. I didn't have the time yesterday to be crying, but I know that there are some beautiful testimonials inside of the Exodus Summit Facebook community. But there was also a reply that was like, I don't think what y'all charge for things is right. Right? I'm like, well, who asked you? Don't pay. If you think we charge too much money for stuff, don't pay. This group is free. You're here because the group is free. The YouTube channels are free. Who asked you about the pricing, right? Another white womanish response, right? We needed a little pick me up. We needed a little keep going. We're going into a very busy season for us. We're going into a season where we have to put our heads down and work and sacrifice some of the other things that we might like to do during those periods to work. Every year during summit season, Rashida has been offered an amazing trip, free. She has a friend who is a travel blogger. She calls him her husband, a travel blogger who every year when it's Exodus Summit season, reaches out to her and is like, I'm going to Greece. I'm going to whatever. You want to come with me? Every year she has to say no. So sometimes we need a little like, keep going. You're doing great, sweetie, right? Nobody asked you about our prices. Don't pay, right? Nothing is obligated. You're not obligated. The Facebook group is free. Amina said blocker. Amina is supposed to be the nicest one. So, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I decided to put my hair in some twists. They're not mini twists. They're not small. So these are only going to last a couple of weeks, but decided to get my hair out of the way for a little while so I could be, a serious exerciser and working person and not focus on my hair so much for the next couple of weeks until my birthday. Thank you, Junket. Thank you. I really don't have a real starting point, any other touch point in this conversation, except to say, are y'all noticing this? And is it just me noticing these things? And is it because I'm just spending too much time online? Or are y'all noticing some Black women doing very white woman things? And do you agree with me or am I wrong? I think whether you agree or not, I think we all agree it's time to get up out of the United States. But I think this is a reason. I think them rubbing off on us, not just the I feel attacked white woman victim thing, but also like the capitalist, hey, here's how I can take advantage of less, of people with less. That is a thing that I see also. Let's add that to this conversation. Sometimes when people talk about moving abroad, often when we talk about moving abroad, we talk about going to a place where we can afford a better life, right? Where things are less expensive than we're used to in the United States. And I'm okay with that, right? But then the conversation will flip into, and I'm going to buy up some real estate. I'm going to buy some land. I'm going to buy up some things. I'm going to rent apartments to local people at exorbitant prices, right? I'm going to, there's a difference between moving to a place and gentrifying a place, and moving with the gentrifier spirit, with the colonizer spirit, is also a thing that happens inside of the Black women move abroad space. I'm not saying that anyone who goes to a place and buys property is moving that way, but it is a thing that happens, right? There are people who move to a place, get in community with people, actually live there and know how things operate, and decide, yeah, I'd like to buy some land. I'd like to buy a home, right? That's fine. But not, I'm buying up some stuff and putting it on Airbnb when you know what Airbnb did to your own town, right? I'm buying up some stuff and I'm going to drive up prices, whatever, whatever. That is also white people energy. It is also what we've learned from white people. Sometimes when people say, talking about Black women moving abroad, they say, well, how do we move abroad without moving like the colonizer? And I say, I think asking the question is the first step, because most people don't even ask that question. Most people just assume that the colonizer's way was fine. It's perfectly fine to move that way. And so having that question, asking yourself that question in the first place is important. I think the things that we do to make sure that we're not, some of the things, this is not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that we do when we move abroad to make sure that we're not replicating what we've learned from these white people in the United States. What we do is we learn the language where we're going, even if we don't know it when you get there, because technology is a real resource out there. So you may not know the language when you get there, but we make a real effort to learn it and use it in that new environment. We get in community with people instead of staying sectioned off, because you can move to Mexico, move into a gated community. Not that there's anything wrong with a gated community, right? But you could move to Mexico and move into a gated community and never end with other Americans and Canadians and British people, and never engage with local people, never be in community with local people. Right, but the way that we move, that is not colonizer-like. We speak the language, we learn the language, we get in community with people. If we buy property, if we buy land, we wait until we're ingrained in that community. Imagine how scummy it looks to buy up land from the United States in another country. You've never even lived there. You haven't even visited. Some people will buy land in a place they've never even visited. That looks really scummy. That looks really white people. That looks real dirty. And so I think those are three things that we can do to make sure that we're not operating like they're operating, because we've learned from them. We've learned from the worst of the worst, right? We learned from the best colonizers there are. We have their ways in us. And we have to actively not continue that, perpetuate that. We have to actively say, I'm not moving that way. I'm not moving dirty, right? It's actions. It's our actions. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Charlie. Assimilate yourself in the local culture, learn the language. Don't be afraid to engage with the locals. I don't necessarily want to hang around with a bunch of expats, which is what we tend to do. You do. So You will want to hang with other expats. You will want community with other expats, but it can't be only other expats. Listen, when you're in a country where you don't know how things work and you're moving there, the people who are going to help you in that transition are other people who have moved there. Because people who are from there, who've always lived there, they don't know how the move abroad process works. They've lived there all their life, right? They can't tell you how to do XYZ. They don't know what you don't know, right? I'm about to sign a lease. I don't know about the utilities. The lease says the utilities will stay in their name, I'm pretty sure. I need to confirm that because I don't know how things operate. I need to confirm that that's normal. And other expats, other people who have moved to Bogota are the people who are helping me with this stage of the game. So, right. Also, if you're in a place where you don't speak the language yet, it's really tiring, exhausting to always try to process in the new language. Sometimes you're going to want people who speak your language. So I have no problem. I love it when people move to a new place and get in community with people, with other expats, because it means you're going to have some support. But you also need to be in community with local people because it means you're going to have a better experience. You're going to live a full life instead of always being sectioned off. As a house sitter, I've house sat for people who've moved places and didn't speak the language at all. And they're just always separate, always sectioned off, and very vulnerable. If something bad happened, they're very how do you know? And how do you know what to do? And who do you talk to? And who, if you need, if you're in some sort, not just an emergency situation, but just any kind of situation where it would be nice to be able to have some local friends. They're very sectioned off. I've house sat for people who moved to parts of Mexico, are in a gated community. Maybe the housekeeper and the landscaper are the only people who they really interact with, and they barely interact with them because the landscaper doesn't speak English and the homeowner doesn't speak Spanish, right? There's very minimal interaction and it's a closed off existence. So I think we want both is what I'm saying. I think we want both. Okay. Yeah, Natalie. Hey, Natalie. I asked my landlady about something regarding residency in Jamaica. She said, I don't know. That ain't my business. I'm Jamaican. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Natalie. Yeah. So I think you need both. If you're moving abroad, I just talked on Tracy Collins' channel just last night. I was a guest on her channel. We did a live stream and it was largely about community. After you move, now what, right? You've done all that hard work to move. But once you get to a place, now what? How do you live your life in the best way? And that's by being in community with people instead of sectioning yourself off. And not being able to speak or read the language is really isolating, even if you don't think it is, because we speak English and English is the lingua franca of the world. It's the language that people speak around the world when they want to do business and whatever. So being a native English speaker can be less isolating than if you were a native Swahili speaker moving to Mexico, right? But you Swahili speakers speak English, right? But we want to make sure that the way that we're moving about the world, whether you're moving to a place or bopping around, we want to make sure that you're doing that in a way that is aligned with your values and not aligned with what these white people in the United States have taught you, because they've taught you the worst, right? They've taught you the worst. You have to understand that. American exceptionalism tells us that what we've learned and what we've done and the way we do things in the United States is the best way. Until you're out in the world, you might believe that. I meant to get rid of my dead flowers. I want to keep the dead flowers around. I'm a person but I bought a plant and I meant to put the plant there so y'all don't have to look at the dead flowers. I'm in one bedroom in a co-living house. This is all the environment I have. I got some dead flowers and a plant. I meant to switch them out, but I wasn't ready in time today. I didn't get to do all that. Analog Girl says we unbalance the economy. Now, the local people have something to do with that. Most of the time, if you're going someplace and you're renting from someone, the real beef that people have about people moving abroad is that it drives rent prices up. But that's the landlord's problem, right? The landlord is the one charging the rent. I, 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 I don't think I have a part to play in that. I didn't set the rent price. I don't know. I don't know. Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't mind keeping my flowers around for a significant, as you can see. I don't mind keeping my flowers around for a very long time. But I did mean to put the pipe plant on the camera. I bought a plant yesterday. So I'm officially a Bogota resident, not a legal resident. My legal residency process, I hollered at the people yesterday and they were like, give us 30 days. So my legal residency process is moving along. But I bought a plant because I expect from here on to always have a home in Bogota, right? Until I move away. In Costa Rica, I was staying in Airbnbs and house sits and stuff. And so every time I left Costa Rica, I had to take all of my stuff with me. I am now in Colombia a person who will never, I don't think ever again have to take everything with me until I leave Bogota, until I like move away from Colombia. I think I now have a home here. I'm never going to have to take everything with me ever again. I said I wasn't going to tell y'all, but then I started kind of told y'all. So I signed my lease on Monday. So they sent it to me. I sent it to the lawyer's office because I don't speak Spanish. I did Google Translate and read it for myself. And I was like, yeah, I agree with all this. But I sent it to the lawyer who's helping me with the residency thing. So I'm gonna sign my lease on Monday. She said the 25th. That's not Monday. Wednesday. Sorry. Wednesday. And then I'll move in after my birthday. I'm gonna wait till after my birthday to move in. Yeah, so super exciting. Thank you. Thank you. Very excited. So I'm now a person who can take things, who doesn't have to pack everything up when I go. So now this plant is my plant instead of the plant being the Airbnb's plant. I've been buying plants as I stay in places and I just leave the plant there. But now everything that I have is mine and I don't have to, you know, take it all with me or say goodbye to it. So that's exciting. I'm now a Bogotaan. Right? From here on, I live in Bogota. So that's really exciting. I'm super excited about all that. And so what am I doing? What am I doing to make sure that I'm not doing colonizer stuff? So when they set the rent price, I negotiated it down a tiny bit. What is 500,000? I think Rashida told me $300. 500,000 COP to USD. I negotiated it down. Oh no, $122. I negotiated my rent down $122 a month. So that means I could have gone lower. Well, I'm laughing because I thought it was 300 some dollars a month. So I'm paying around $2,000 a month. It's a big old apartment, 2-story apartment. I negotiated my rent down a little bit so people can't be like, those Americans come and just pay what the people ask. Okay, I did my part. I did my part. Landlord knew I was American. And I negotiated the price down a little tiny bit. So y'all can't say Americans are driving the rent prices up. Okay. Okay. I'm learning Spanish. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I did an Instagram live a couple of days ago. And I explained how I had dinner at an Italian restaurant and a family came and sat beside me. And the little girl, as soon as we walked in, the little girl was like, locked eyes on me, right? You are my friend for the evening. She was 5 and she came over and talked to me for probably 20 minutes. I'm not exaggerating because I was pretty much done with my coffee, my cappuccino. And she sat and talked and talked and talked in Spanish. This is how I know that I do not yet have the Spanish level of a 5-year-old, okay? But maybe 3.5. And so I learned Spanish. I don't have a formal like Spanish teacher or a Spanish, I'm not in a Spanish class, but I do watch things in Espanol. I've been watching random things, just changing the language to Spanish. Um, Oh, and then community. So I don't know what hobbies I'm going to pick up here that are going to help me form community. I think still crochet, even though I'm not going to ever be good at crochet. I don't know if I'm ever be good at crocheting. My original plan was like, I'm a crochet and I'm gonna make my own stuff. I don't know if I'm ever make clothes, wearable clothes. But crochet, so maybe I'll find some women to crochet with. I did find a running club. So when I am able to run more than 90 seconds, right now I can run like 60-second intervals. Run 60 seconds, walk for 2 minutes, run 60 seconds, right? So once I get beyond that, I'll maybe join a running group. Running is a thing that I think will help me make friends, even with my 3.5-year-old Spanish, right? So that's my plan on how to move to Bogota and not move like the colonizer does. Can I speak briefly on the cons of living here? Yeah, in Bogota in particular, Colombia is a country of different cities. Each city is different. I feel like I need to say that because just because I'm going to give you some of the cons of Bogota doesn't mean those are cons of all of Colombia. Okay? Bogota is very high altitude. Latin America has a lot of high altitude cities, which for some reason, I don't know, it didn't really occur to me. A lot of cities in Latin America are very high altitude, which means it's not hot. You see what I'm wearing? Okay. It's not hot. Bogota's high most days all year long. Bogota's temperature doesn't fluctuate very much throughout the year. Our temperature graph looks a lot like this all year. High most days 65, maybe 70. We see 80 degrees two times a year. 80 degrees, 80, not 90, 80, 2 times a year. So the weather is not a thing that a lot of people would like about Bogota. Especially when you think about moving to Latin America, you think about warmth, right? And the sun and tropical. No, not here. Bogota, Colombia is cool. And it's high altitude, which means if you have some sort of reaction to high altitude, you're going to be miserable here. It only took me, the first day, it took me probably 3 days to get over the altitude. The second time I flew in, took me a couple days. And then the third time I flew in, it took me a day to get over that high altitude. But there is an adjustment period. And for some people, that adjustment never happens. There are people who can never live at this high altitude. We're over 8,000 feet, I believe. You know, feet and meters is funny. I think over 8,000 feet and over 25,000 meters, 2,500 meters, 2,500 meters. I don't know. So my hoodie. My hoodie is my own personal merch. Hey, Shantae. My hoodie says, "This hoodie gives Black women a break. #Vacarians." You probably see a link to this very hoodie below this video on the screen. If you're in the United States, you should see my merch shelf right below. We, this community, call ourselves the Vacarians, and we put money together to send Black women on sabbatical. And some of that money comes from the merch. All this profit from the merch sales, merch, shirts, mugs, bags, all the profit from those sales go to the sabbatical fund. We have so far given 2 Black women each $25,000. We've given more than $50,000 to Black women to take breaks, sabbaticals, to not work. In 2023, it was Maisha Francis. In 2024, it was Alicia Renice. 2025, we don't have a plan yet. We don't have a plan for end of 2025. So we got to work on it. We got to work on it. Yeah, if you don't see it, I believe if you go to vicarious.com/merch, actually go to vicarious.com/sabbatical fund. and you'll see the various ways to give to the sabbatical fund, which includes this merch. There's a link to the merch shop there. I think it might be vicarious.com/merch, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know if you go to vicarious.com/sabbatical fund, you can see the link to the merch. You're welcome. Yeah, sweatshirt weather. Last night during Tracy's live stream, I sat near an open window. I was downstairs in the living room. There's like a courtyard. Well, there's a courtyard between the garage and the living room with just plants and plants and plants, right? I'm in a co-living house and it's just like a courtyard. And I was in the living room with this big old sliding door, and I had the sliding door all the way open. And I was so cold. I was so cold during that live stream. I was like, whoa, I'm not wearing enough clothes. And I had a sweater on. Bogota is chilly. 65 here feels a little warmer than 65 in other places. I don't know if that's the altitude. I don't know if that's the closeness to the sun. I don't know, but I'm in Bogota, Colombia. But those are the cons, I would say. The weather and the altitude and the food. Let's go with the local food, the Colombian food. Colombian food, it's not, no, thank you. They don't season their food. You have to go to somebody else. You have to eat somebody else's food here. Asian food. I went to the Italian restaurant the other day. I've had some good pizza here, no complaints. Yeah, but Colombian food itself, no bueno. Thank you. You have to find the others. I haven't had any Caribbean food here. I need to find. I stayed in one of the Airbnbs. I was pretty close to a Jamaican restaurant, but I haven't. I don't know why. My computer. So used to be my computer would go into work mode. So would my phone. But now one will go into work mode and the other won't sometimes. I apologize. And the others, Bogota, another downside. This is for all of Colombia. Colombia doesn't seem to be up to date with other countries in terms of how people can move there who are like people like me, who run their own business or who work online. They have yes, Black Joy. Yeah, there's good merch down there. Yes, not Black Excellence. Let's have some Black Joy. Thank you. Yeah. The moving process. So the residency process, like even getting the digital nomad visa takes weeks, which is kind of strange to me. So the digital nomad visa takes weeks, and it's not a pathway to residency. It's not a residency visa, it's a visitor's visa. So in Mexico, I have residency. I have 4 years of residency. In Colombia, I'll be a visitor still. Because the attorney says there's no true freelancer visa here. And I don't want to do all the work of proving that I have a business and then explaining to them all of this in order to get the residency here. I'm kind of waiting Colombia out. I feel like my plan is get the digital nomad visa and then wait for them to change the rules so that I can qualify for a freelancer visa, which does not exist here. Seriously. That's plan A. Plan B, I guess, is just keep the digital nomad visa forever and ever, right? Until they're like, too late. You can just keep renewing the digital nomad visa, but it's not a residency pathway. It's not a permanent residency pathway. It's a thing that I would have to keep renewing and renewing. I feel like that is very 1990s of them. And I feel like somebody will change that. If they've taken the time to come up with a digital nomad visa, they should also come up with a way to give a longer visa. So yeah, there are other choices. I don't want to say too much about, I feel like the other thing that I'm here to do that some of you are aware of, the other thing that I'm here to do is another way that I could get residency or citizenship here. So I'm just waiting it out. I'm just waiting it out. Yeah. Any other downsides to Bogota in particular? We're in the Andes Mountains, so like I don't know that you can drive. You can drive to Medellin from here, but you cannot drive to the beaches from here. We're on the you have to cross the Andes. You're not driving to the beaches from Bogota. But I don't know if people care about that. You can just hop on a plane and fly to the beach. Uh, Downsides: the food, the weather, all the things that are probably at the top of your list. The food, the weather, and what else did I say? The residency process. Those are negatives. I happen to think that the city is adorable. It's beautiful. It's very green, and I think it's worth it, right? I think it's worth the effort. I'll let you know. I'm happy. I like the neighborhood that I got my apartment in, and I like the neighborhood. Lots of cafes and coffee shops and restaurants and shopping. Kind of walking distance to the big mall. Like I think Andino is the biggest mall, and I'm walking distance to Andino Mall. So I'm happy. Yeah, the food, Colombian food. I'm talking about Colombian food. Now, there's any kind of food you want here. There's a um, falafel place that always has people in it. I'm like, I gotta go there, right? So any other kind of food that you eat here, it's probably gonna be fine. But the Colombian food, they don't season it. I don't know. I never thought I would miss Costa Rica's rice and beans. I never thought. Costa Rica is rice and beans, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Typical, right? The typical meal, rice and beans and some kind of meat and plantains, plátanos. I never thought I would miss Costa Rican food. Colombian food is no bueno, which means that I've been eating everything else. I've had Korean, I've had a whole lot of different types of foods here. Instead of like in Costa Rica, I would really get rice and beans. I don't know, half the time. Half of my meals were rice and beans. Half of my dinners were rice and beans. Whereas here, I'm going to something else. I maybe need to try a few different Colombian restaurants. There may be one where I'm like, okay, this is the one. But so far, no. So far, I'm like, let's try something else. Even the KFC here is bland, right? I've ordered KFC here 3 different times because I'm like, we're gonna switch this. I'm gonna find the flavor. I'm in a different neighborhood now. Let me try a different KFC now. Even the KFC, they don't season the food here. And the KFC is catered towards their local palate. It's unseasoned. Yeah, they do have farmers markets. So on Sunday, I'm close to one. Yeah, last Sunday I forgot to go. I've been in this particular house only for 2 weeks, and there's one really close by. And the last Sunday I forgot to go. I went out for a walk and everything. I left the house, went for a walk. They closed some of the main roads so that you can walk or bike or skate on them. I went out and walked on them and everything, and forgot to go to the farmers market. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm gonna go tomorrow. It's also Pride. There's a bunch of Pride stuff tomorrow, so hopefully the farmers markets are happening. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm going tomorrow, so I'll have a better report on that soon. Yes, right. So this is Bogota in particular. Different parts of Colombia are different. Different parts of Colombia have different people. Cali and Cartagena, I've heard, and is it Santa Marta? I've heard have more Caribbean people and have better food. Transportation, no complaints. I still don't have a bus card. When I ride the bus here, the bus is like 78 cents. Okay. Or 32,000, is it 32,000? 3,200 colones. Let me look at this. Let me put that in here. 3,200 colones. Yeah. 3,200 colones for the bus that I take. And I still haven't figured out how to get my card. So I just get on the bus. I get on the bus and tap my debit card and be like, oh no, I can't use my debit card. And then somebody from the bus will get up and tap me on, and I give them cash. So eventually I need to Google, how do I get a bus card? I asked the lady last time I bought these flowers. Actually, when I bought the flowers, I had a little conversation with her, and she was trying to explain to me where to go to buy the card. And eventually she just gave up and was like, just use your debit card. And what she was telling me is telling me to do that. Pretend to use your debit card. Somebody will help you. Give them the money. You're good. But I do need to find out how to get my own bus card. It's called Tuyave. Lots of buses around. Even during times when you would expect the buses to be jam-packed, they're not. You're not packed in like sardines. On the routes that I take anyway. I only take the B303 and the B309 from here to right. Maybe the other buses are super califragilistic, but the buses that I've been on, no problems. Uber is inexpensive. I think I would say Uber here is less expensive than Uber in Mexico. Part of the problem is I'm not yet a person who automatically converts Colombian pesos to dollars. In Mexico, it's easy, right? It used to be around 100 pesos was $5, right? So it's easy. Here, it's like 10,000 pesos is 20, what is it? No, 100,000 pesos is $25. And so I don't automatically do the conversion in my head every time I see the price. But Uber is less, it's very inexpensive compared to the United States. Okay, I'll say that. I think it's still inexpensive compared to Mexico. And then walking, Bogota is a walking city. They walk here, right? They walk here. So walking, the bus, the Uber, there's a train. I've never tried to go any place where they were like, take the train. I use the Google Maps and that blue app. And I've never been instructed to take the train, but there is a train here. I don't know where it goes and I don't know who takes it. Maybe one day I'll figure that out. And then people drive. There's, I don't know, 6 million people here or something. I don't know. It's a big city. And so it's congested. It's very congested. It's congested. I wouldn't say very congested. It's not the most trafficky city in the world. I've been to other places that are more trafficky. But people here drive. They drive around. My new apartment comes with 2 parking spaces, 3. I think 3 parking spaces. They drive here. I don't have any intentions of driving here, but used cars, I'd be looking at Facebook Marketplace and used car prices are pretty good. They have you'll see like a 12-year-old like Audi or BMW or Mercedes Benz for like $16,000 or $18,000. That sounds not expensive, right? That doesn't sound right to me, but that's what the cars be listed for. It'll be like 20, maybe it's because I don't know what year 15 years ago was. Yeah, it'll be like a 2010. Yeah, like a 2008, 2010, 2012 Mercedes Benz SUV, BMW, Audi, and it'll be like 15,000 US dollars, 18,000 US dollars, which to me seems inexpensive based on used car prices as I recall them. But I don't have any intentions of getting a car. But you never know. I mean, if I don't know if my residency status changes and I go from a digital nomad visa to an actual permanent resident, it might be worth it to get a car. I don't know. I don't know their rules. I don't know their taxes. I don't know their registration prices. I don't know. Earthquakes here. So Bogota has had like an earthquake a year for the last 3 years. I think that's what I looked up. We had a big enough earthquake the other day that I went outside, but the last earthquake was a year ago. So a lot of Latin America is very shaky. Okay, very shaky. Bogota seems to be, for some reason, either the website was wrong and they have more earthquakes than I think, or for some reason it's less shaky, even though we're in the Andes Mountains. I don't know. But we had an earthquake just a few days ago. Maybe it was right before I moved out. So moved into this place, moved out of the Airbnb. So let's go with 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago. It was a 6.3, and it lasted for a significant amount of time. I've been in quite a few earthquakes over the last couple of years. In Costa Rica, it's always earthquakes. In Costa, I felt like there was an earthquake every week in San Jose. Now, some of the earthquakes were happening out in the ocean, but you could feel them in San Jose. I felt an earthquake every week, but this is the biggest earthquake I've ever felt in my life. It shook for probably a full 60 seconds, which doesn't seem long, but most of the earthquakes that I've been in were like 20 seconds. And it was much more shaky. I was on the fifth, no, I stayed in the third, I was on the third floor of my apartment, and nothing felt like it was going to come down, right? Nothing felt like this is bad, but the earthquake lasted long enough for me to get up out of the bed, go to the bathroom, like use the toilet, look out the window, see my neighbors outside. The neighbors from the building had gone outside in their pajamas. I brushed my teeth, I put on clothes, and the building was still shaking. So maybe more than a minute, maybe more like closer to a minute and a half or 2 minutes. It was a significant amount of it was the most shaking I've ever felt here in Bogota. But on the other side, of that, they hadn't had an earthquake for a year, and this one was bigger than that one. And also, it didn't seem to be any damage. I went to the news several times over the couple of days, and I didn't see any reports of any building damage. So that made me feel pretty good. It made me feel fine about it. We had an earthquake once in Delaware. When I was home, we had an earthquake in Delaware. So there are certain things that I don't know that you're going to escape. This is me talking, a house sitter, not a geologist, okay? But not a climatologist. But I think earthquakes and water shortages are going to be worldwide, and it's just a thing that you have to be okay with. I don't have any scientific basis for that, okay? Except it feels like the right answer. We had an earthquake in Delaware. We had an earthquake in Dover, Delaware, when I was home, maybe 2016 or after I came back from my sabbatical. There was an earthquake in Delaware. So where do you live where you're not going to have an earthquake? I don't know, because the earth is quaking. We done drilled up all the oil, lost the lubrication, right? If oil was the lubrication of the planet, we are unlubricated, and we're going to feel some things that we didn't used to feel. I've made all of this up. I'm a house sitter. Understand, I'm not a geologist, but I feel pretty confident in saying wherever you live could be an earthquake. So it's not a thing. I like to be in a place where, they have taken some earthquake protections. Things in Delaware are not earthquake proof. Buildings in Bogota are pretty earthquake proof, So I feel okay about that. I think also water shortages, I think, are just going to be a thing that we're going to deal with all around the world. I made that up. I don't have any scientific, maybe one day we'll get a climate. If you know of a Black woman climate person, are they really called climatologists? If you know a Black woman climatologist, can you email me her name or her Instagram or something? Because I think water shortages are just going to be the wave of the future. And we're going to have to deal with it. So when I got here in Bogota in December, they were going through water conservation efforts. Every strata here, instead of like neighborhoods they have strata. Bogota has a system where they say these group of people have more money, and so their utility prices are higher. This neighborhood or these sections of people have less money, and so their utility prices are lower, right? It's kind of a socialist system, kind of, mildly. And so they would be like strata 1, y'all don't have water on this day. Strata 2, y'all don't have water on this day. Strata 6, y'all don't have water on that day. So they were doing that last time we were here. And some buildings had their own water supply. And so they didn't have to turn off the water. But other buildings, if you don't have your own water supply, if you're using city water, no water on this day. I know a lot of people who, if they had come during that time for scouting, they would have been like, I can't move to Bogota. But girl, Dover, Delaware went 3 months or 4 months last summer with zero rain. We're in water shortage season. It's water shortage time. I'm reading. I got my thing. I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone. People keep telling me to read that book. We're in a time. No, was that the book people keep telling me to read? No, they keep telling me to read Octavia Butler. We're in a time when that is a thing. That is a way that people are going to live. I think. Right? Delaware didn't get to, y'all don't have water today, but Delaware did get to, okay, so here's the protocol. No watering your lawns, no this, no that, right? I think that is a way of life for us in the future. When CEOs say water is a privilege, shortages are coming. Yeah, until the saturation happens. But these are negative. These are cons of Bogota. Okay, so we're still adding to the list. Those are cons of Bogota. Meanwhile, it won't stop raining in North Carolina. Hope y'all are safe. Yeah, I know y'all had serious flooding. Was that a year ago now? So hope y'all are safe. Okay, I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone, but I got that confused with Octavia. People keep telling me to read Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, which I have. I should have. I may have. I wonder if I left it in Delaware. I have it. I just haven't started it. I have it. I'm holding my chest like, where's my book? I have it. I did get it, but I haven't read it yet. Okay, yeah, Children of Blood and Bone. Girl, this book is a commitment. I have my laptop propped up on it right now because that's how thick that book is. I'm like, come on. It's bigger than a Bible. I've read the Bible. It's a commitment, but it's an easy read. It's kind of, I would call it YA. I don't know. I hope that's not offensive. I would call it a young adult type of book. It's easy read, but it's good that I'm reading it because there's a movie coming out soon, I believe. Yeah. So that's what life is like in Bogota. People have been very good to me. And, food is good if you don't eat the Colombian foods. It's quaking. You're going to feel some movement in the joints. If you don't have the, what is it in our joints? All the whatever is gone, you're going to feel some movement. Where? LaRonda says 5 earthquakes in the last 5 days. Where? LaRonda, where are you at? Yeah, volcanoes, Costa Rica. So I never did follow up with Kat. Costa Rica had, I think, 2 volcanoes erupting at the same time, and it was affecting the air in San Jose. We are in times. I'm not saying it's the end of the world because I don't think it's the end of the world. I think that every generation thinks it's the end of the world and the world is still here. I don't think we're in the end times. I really don't. But we are in times. We are in times. Things are happening. Weather is extreme and things are happening. Yeah. Hey, Jewel. We've had tremors in Charlotte and in Georgia. Yeah, I don't know. My philosophy on the earthquakes is I want to be in a place that's earthquake proof. Not earthquake proof. I shouldn't say that, but in a place that is prepared for earthquakes. I feel fine with that. I feel fine with that because they're everywhere. Earthquakes are everywhere. So I'd like to be in a place that's prepared for it. Lori says to read Sky Full of Elephants. All white people walk into ocean and ponds and drown. All of them. Okay. Let me put that on my list. I had a book. Right now, Costa Rica's DHL service is messaging me because I accidentally ordered a book on, what is it called when you pre-order someone's physical book, not realizing I wasn't going to be in Costa Rica. So I have a book at the DHL office and they're like, either we're going to pay you. I mean, either you're going to pay us for storing this book or whatever. I don't know what book it is. I don't know what I ordered, when I ordered it, somebody's pre-order. So I need to, anyway, Skyfall Elephants. I need to add that to my list, but make sure that I'm not physically ordering the book to Costa Rica by mistake. Okay, Adele, you just finished reading it? Okay, good. And Angela says it's a must read. Okay, fantastic. Is Kyoka or Yvonne, are y'all here? And do y'all have any plans to read that in your book club? I'm scrolling in the chat. I'm trying to learn how to read in my progressive lenses. There it is. I'm still not good. I got these in Mexico in March or April, March during the caravan. I'm still not good at reading in them or walking down steps. So I'm trying to practice. Reading from this I still can't read at all read a book. But reading from this distance, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, it's right there. Where do I go to read in these progressives? Hey, Erica. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is another thing. When people ask me, hey, the AVX girl, people always are like, but can you drink the water in such and such? One time a woman, in one of my comments, let's go back to being white womanish again. In one of my comments, this is years ago now, she said, oh my gosh, we could never go to Mexico. My friend and her husband went to Mexico and they couldn't drink the water. So he ended up being dehydrated and hospitalized for dehydration. And I'm like, they got bottled water in Mexico. I don't know what she's talking about. Everywhere you go, there's bottled water. What are people thinking? What are you thinking? Maybe you shouldn't drink the tap water in Mexico. There's different bacteria or different whatever's in the water that we're not used to with our systems. Maybe if you're visiting Mexico for a little while, you don't drink the water from the tap. But girl, there's bottled water in Mexico. What are they thinking? And then I'm like, but you probably don't even drink the tap water where you live. My parents live in Dover, Delaware. I've not seen them ever drink tap water. Not in this house that they're in now. And they built that house. Those pipes are new, right? The house before had well water, and we probably did drink from that. But they drink from the filtered water from the fridge. They buy bottled water. They buy a filtered pitcher, right? They don't just go up to the sink, turn the sink on and drink the water. Whatever solution works for you in the United States with y'all's dirty water is going to work for you in Mexico with their dirty water. Not dirty water, but with their water that's maybe not suitable, maybe going to upset your stomach. I'm like, she said that man, because he couldn't drink the water in Mexico, he was dehydrated and was hospitalized for dehydration. Y'all couldn't just go to the OXXO? It's an OXXO on every corner. I don't even need to know what city they went to in Mexico or what town or what beach. I know there's an OXXO within walking distance. There's probably a man driving by with a loudspeaker selling bottled water. Like, girl, there were other solutions besides dehydration and hospitalization. Are you drinking the water where you live? I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know a place in the US where you're going to be dehydrated, where you're going to drink the water from your tap. I don't know people who do that anymore, but whatever. Whatever. The problems that you have to solve in other countries, sometimes it's the same problem you've already solved in the United States. Don't overthink it. There's bottled water in Mexico. Yeah, so we had well water. My parents used to live in a different in a different town in Delaware, and that house had well water. So we probably did drink from the tap. Now I am a rebel, and I will drink from anybody's tap. I drink from the tap here in Colombia, in Mexico. Where were we? I was with Rashida and Adelia at Adelia's birthday, and I was like, "Well, I'm drinking kitchen sink water." Okay, I'll let you know how it tastes. I'm drinking the water. I have my gut. My gut looks out for me. My gut is like, oh, here she go. Let's kick it into overdrive. My gut, I will drink from anybody. I will drink from the tap. Okay, I drank ice in Colombia. I've in a Cambodia. In Cambodia, in places in Southeast Asia, what you see is that ice delivery truck delivers ice to restaurants and stuff in big old blocks. They take the block out of the truck and they drag the block on the ground into the restaurant. Sometimes the ice is, sometimes they put a little thing under it, a little cloth, like a burlap kind of cloth, underneath the ice block to drag it into the restaurant, but it's still dirty. Other times they just drag the ice block on the ground into the restaurant. You know what I still did? Put ice in my drinks at them restaurants because it's hot in Cambodia. Yes, give me ice. All over the internet, they're like, do not drink the ice. Do not get drinks with ice in Cambodia. Give me iced coffee, iced drinks, iced juice. Put ice in my drink. I don't care. Listen, it was drug along the sidewalk. Amina called it earthy ice. That's a thing. Okay. I will eat dirt. If it's hot enough, I'm eating dirt. So, is that when mineral water? Is that what mineral water is? So, but if these are concerns of yours, the same solution, the same way that you solve this problem at home is probably the way you'll solve the problem somewhere else. Am I going to survive? Okay. I'm a survivor. I saw that. I saw the delivery. I'd read blog posts and seen YouTube videos about the ice situation in Southeast Asia, not just Cambodia, Thailand, all over Southeast Asia. If they're getting their ice delivered, it's dirty. Okay. They drag it on the ground. They, whatever. I'd seen that. But you know what? I think I'm going to make it. I would rather have ice and dirt than be hot. Is it probiotics? My gut be looking out for me. That's one of the ways I know I'm going to live a long time. I think your gut is an indicator. You need to understand I'm a house sitter. Okay. I'm not a doctor. But your gut health, your gut strength, the gut fortitude, I think is an indicator that I'm going to live a long time. You ever have a dog who ate something they weren't supposed to eat and their gut was just like, we're getting rid of that, right? My gut is like that. My dog wouldn't eat, my last dog, Star, who was adorable. She wouldn't eat McDonald's sausage. I lived within walking distance to a McDonald's, but if you know, I drove there. Okay. And I ate McDonald's breakfast all the time. She wouldn't eat McDonald's sausage. If I wanted to share my breakfast with my dog, she wouldn't eat the McDonald's sausage. Okay. Which told me I probably shouldn't eat this because my dog will eat anything. But she would eat paper towels. If I had soaked some bacon, like, you put paper towel, she would go in the trash and eat the whole paper towel. And then she would just poop it out in a little tight spiral. And I have a gut like that, right? Whatever you putting in here, Stephanie. Okay, we're just gonna poop it out. Just gonna get it out. I'm not, just because I drink the water in Bogota doesn't mean you should drink the water from the kitchen sink in Bogota. But there's filtered water in Bogota. Yeah, okay. Same wherever. No, she would not. She like refused. Like that's not food, and I don't eat whatever that is. Which would you? Most people would have stopped eating the McDonald's sausage. But you know, I'm gonna get my biscuit, or I actually like those. What are they called? The pancake things. That was my breakfast. Too many days. Okay, so we've talked about my gut. We've talked about Bogota, and we've talked about why I think you should leave to get away from them people because they're rubbing off on y'all. Anything else we need to talk about? I know, Nichelle. Hey, Nichelle. I know most people would have never eaten a McDonald's sausage again. My daughter, she would not eat. I mean, like, not eat it, right? Like, I don't know what that is, but that's not food. She would eat anything. She loved bacon, of course. What kind of stuff did I cook that I would like to share with her? She loved bacon. Certain fruit, some fruits dogs can't eat, but certain fruit she would be okay with. I think watermelon. She liked watermelon. Um, my dog, when I adopted her at the shelter, I saw her in the little crate. She was beautiful. So I brought her out and she just laid in my lap. And I think I sat at the shelter for 2 hours just petting her because they wouldn't let you take the dog the same day. They had a 24-hour waiting period. So I had to leave and come back. But I wanted to stay with her she just laid in my lap and cuddled with me. As soon as I brought her home, she was like, all right, peace. You do you and I'ma do me. And she went upstairs. I had 3 bedrooms in that row house. She went upstairs, picked a bedroom, got on the bed, and she was like, this is where I'll be when you need me. Right? Had good daylight, good sunlight in there. South and west facing window. So good light in there. She loved that room. Yeah, she was like, oh, you thought I was a lap dog, but actually I am INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? But the time that she would be right on me was when I was cooking. If I went into that kitchen, she'd be like, oh, hey, best friend. What you doing, best friend? Oh my gosh, I missed you, best friend. As soon as I went into the kitchen. She ate all of anything. She ate anything. I had to do my Googles because like garlic, there's things that dogs aren't supposed to eat, right? I had to do my Googles because she loved to be in the kitchen if I was cooking something. She loved food. But she would not eat that McDonald's sausage. What you trying to do to me? So then maybe that's a word for you. Maybe we don't eat that anymore. Okay. So I started this from earlier. Hi, MJ. I hope you're still here. Let's read MJ's testimonial. I'm on a 6-month sabbatical and will retire immediately after. I attended Exodus Summit 2023 and 2024. You and Rashida helped me bet on myself. Congratulations, MJ. How is the sabbatical? How do you like it? And congratulations on your coming retirement, your upcoming retirement. Fantastic. We're so excited for you. We're so proud of you for doing it, right? A lot of people come to the stuff, take the notes, but don't apply the notes. So congratulations on applying it, on making sure that you get yours. Well done. We're so happy for you. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're still here because that was a comment from very early. Hope you're still here. And I hope your sabbatical is restful and insightful, giving you some inspiration for this next phase of your life. I don't mean inspiration to do things. I mean inspiration to how to enjoy this next phase of your life, which can very well be doing as little as possible. Anything else? Oh, let's see. Katie has 3 pet sits booked. Congratulations. Friends, it's house sitter season. We talked house sitting just last Saturday here on this live stream. Let me link you to my new house sitter toolkit and the Trusted House Sitters um, the link to join Trusted House Sitters. It's house sitter season. Summertime is when people are traveling around the world. If there's a place in the world that you want to be, and you're a friend to animals, you like cats or dogs or chickens or snakes or rabbits or whatever, something, fish, house sitting can be a way that you get free accommodation, a free place to stay. So join Trusted House Sitters, download my free new house sitter toolkit and get started. My toolkit includes the letter that I use to get booked to house sit. My new house sitter toolkit includes the template, the actual email that I send to prospective clients that gets me booked. So both of those, put these 2 things together and go ahead and get you some accommodation, some free accommodation somewhere in the world. A thing I forget. So I've been wearing these glasses since March, but I've not been wearing them and seeing myself on the screen because I don't usually wear them when I'm live streaming. And I always forget how crooked my ears are, how crooked the glasses look because of how crooked my ears are. Yeah, okay, please go ahead and get started house sitting. House sitting is for you too. I sometimes call house sitting reparations. House sitting is not reparations because anybody can use it. But I like to consider house sitting reparations. A free place, give me a free place to sit myself down for several weeks. Thank you. That's what house sitting has been able to do for women in this community in different parts of the world, whether it's your home city, your own city, or some, I don't know, exotic place somewhere else in the world. House sitting and pet sitting means you get a free place to stay. I recommend it. Also, you get some company, right? You get a pet in the house who can keep you company. You get to stay in a neighborhood. If you're scouting out some places, house sitting would make a good scouting trip combo, right? Because you'll be in a neighborhood. Whereas if you're scouting out a place and you're staying in a hotel or something, you might be not in a residential neighborhood. House sitting lets you stay in a residential neighborhood, maybe meet some neighbors and make some friends. I made some friends in Palm Springs, right? The men in Palm Springs were like, let's go out to eat. We're friends with the people you're house sitting for, which means we're now friends with you. Yeah, let house sitting be a way that you scout out a new place or a way that you save money in the place you're already in. Okay. Ooh, Tiana, I'm scouting out Greece for living, and I'm in talks with a lady about a long-term house sit there. Wonderful. Congratulations. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, where in Greece? In Athens or on an island or somewhere else? I'm gonna say Hallie. Correct me if I'm not pronouncing your name right. You're gonna have to, I don't know how you're gonna fix it for me, but I think this is Hallie. Has there been anyone in Exodus Summit or in the community who started their move abroad in their 20s? So, Kyoko, were you in your 20s when you started? It's hard to know how old people are. There are some women in the community who are in their 20s. It's just hard to know who they are. Who's who? Yeah. So the difference in your 20s is probably that hopefully you have fewer reasons to postpone it. Right? In your 20s, hopefully you have fewer reasons to postpone things. Hopefully there are not aging parents, right? A lot of people in there, my age, I'm 50, my dad's about to turn 80, right? So hopefully in your 20s, your parents are not a concern in terms of like, I can't leave the country. I don't want to leave them. Although, I did it. You could do it. If they are, you can still do it. Yeah, in your 20s, I think I don't want to minimize the the work it still takes when you're in your 20s. But I do want to say, hopefully in your 20s, you do have some advantages. Maybe not small children, or if you do have children, they're young enough that they do what you say. They're not 14-year-olds who are like, I don't want to live in Mexico, right? If you do have children and you're in your 20s, they're probably young enough that they don't get a say. They go where you go. So in your 20s is at a time to take advantage of your advantages, right? Your 20s is also a time when you're okay with, maybe, I don't know for sure, but you may be okay with things being a little less luxury than a woman in her 50s or 60s is probably into. And so you can do things on a much lower budget. Now, in my 40s, I stayed in hostels. I stayed in dorm rooms and hostels. I traveled from September 2015 to September 2016, and most of my nights, most of my accommodation was in hostels and dorm rooms, right? Bunk beds with strangers. Now, I was in my 40s, but most of the other people doing it were in their 20s, mostly. There were also people in their 40s and 50s and 60s doing that. But there are advantages to being in your 20s that I hope you take advantage of. Also, like, your knees probably still bend real good. Right? You still got your lubrication in your joints. So I think that the advantages are yours. And I hope that you will do them. So I hope that you will use them. Okay, so Juanita says, I'm starting my abroad in my 20s soon. I'm 27. Okay. Juanita, are you in the Exodus Summit Facebook group? And can you tell, who was that? That wasn't Tiana. The thing I miss about Ecamm Live is that I can't just search for a thing anymore. I can't search for comments anymore. Or if I can, I don't know how. Who was that? Hallie? Yeah. Juanita and Hallie, can y'all say hey to each other in the Exodus Summit Facebook community if you're in there? Yeah. The 20s are an advantage. Anything is possible in your 20s. Anything is possible. There are opportunities. Like, if I was in my 20s, I would probably work on a yacht, right? I would probably get a job on a yacht as a nanny or something. And I would be out on the water, okay, living yacht life. In your 20s, anything is possible. And opportunities are more free flowing. Opportunities for things like, hey, we need somebody to help out on this yacht for 4 months. Those are the kind of opportunities that come to people in their 20s. Nobody wants a 50-year-old working on the yacht, because listen, sometimes my knees don't bend. And I'll be like, I can't do this. I can't mop this floor today. You do it. I know you hired me to swab the deck, but not today. I can't do that today. Yeah. 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 Now, for those of us who are beyond our 20s, things are a little more, there are more challenges, but we can still live like a 20-something. I basically live like a 20-something, right? No home. I'm about to sign my first lease ever. I've never been a renter. I've never rented. Either I lived in a house that my dad put me in because he got sick of me. My dad moved me out of their house and into a trailer. Right? Either I've lived in my dad's trailer, or I lived in a home that I bought, or I was in the army. I lived in the barracks. I stayed in the barracks. Other people were like, oh, I can't wait to leave the barracks and get an apartment. I'm staying where it's free. Free is for me, even though they did pay you extra if you moved out. We can live like a 20-something if you choose, right? It's gonna take some extra organizing, some extra planning, might need some extra multivitamins. I basically have lived like a 20 something since September of 2015. Bop around the world, house sit for people. It's been nice. It's been very nice. I think it's helped me keep me young in some ways, right? Keep me nimble mentally and socially. I think it's been good. So we can still live like that too. If you want to listen, if you want to be a nanny on a yacht, who are they going to trust more than a 40 something or 50 something year old, right? House sitting is probably easier for 50 and 60-year-olds than it is for 20-year-olds because who wants a 20-year-old house sitter? Right? You can live like a 20-year-old if you never had the opportunity before. Jewel Pearson always be like, I just want to be so irresponsible. And some of you have set your life up so that today you can now be irresponsible. When so-and-so says she's going to, when we say, oh, we're going to Vietnam for a few weeks, come and join us. You'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to spend 3 months in Southeast Asia. Thank you. Irresponsible, right? Do 20-year-old stuff, right? Yeah, you can do it today. So if for anybody, that's for anybody who was like, oh, what I would do today if I was 20, maybe that's a sign that that's the thing you should be working on. It's been really nice to be a person with having no home since 2015, not paying rent or mortgage since 2015 has freed me up. That plus house sitting means when I want to take an expensive cruise, I take an expensive cruise because ain't no mortgage or rent payment holding me back. I'll pick up some extra house sits to make up for that money. Or when I want to book an Airbnb that is extravagant, I'll book it because I've been irresponsible. Because I've been a person who got to live like a 20 something. Good morning, Alicia Renice. Because I've gotten to live like a 20 something at 40s, in my 40s and 50s. I'll be 51 in a couple weeks. And, I'm just picking responsibility back up. From 41, I left at 41. It's been 10 years. If I didn't sign this lease until September, it would be an official 10 years, but it's 9.75 years or something like that. 9.75 years of being a 20 something again, but better. 20, but better. Because in my 20s, I was thinking about, I don't know, I wasn't super responsible even in my 20s, but I did own a home. I bought my first home at, I think 24, 23. It wasn't the right decision. It was a bad idea. Then I went and joined the Army at 26. But anyway. Yeah. The things that you're like, if I was 20 today, here's how I would live my life. Maybe give yourself a year to do that now. I love a sabbatical. I love to see Black women on sabbatical. I love some time when, nobody can tell you where to be and what to do. Hey, LaRonda. Yes to being irresponsible. I'm 62 doing 20-year-old stuff. My summer looks like that because I'm free. Yes. Right? LaRonda moved. Okay. So some women, I don't know how much, sometimes I'm not a filterer of words. There are women in this community who pack up their homes and get rid of their stuff and then move in with family members. Talk about living like a 20-year-old. Move in with family members so that they can then be free to be wherever they want to in the world. I have a bedroom in my sister's house or my parents' house or my brother's house or my cousin's house or my friend's house. I have a room there, but I am in the wind. Okay, I'm in the wind, baby. I am wherever the wind blows me. That is a thing that women in their 50s and 60s and 70s are doing that has been so good to see. I don't have to hold on to these markers of respectability, these markers of status, these markers of Black excellence, because they don't serve me anymore. I'm a 20-something again. I'm in my niece's house. I'm in my son's house. Let him be responsible. Let your kids be the responsible ones. You be out in the world. Don't be jealous, Christine. House it, save your coins, get on the yacht. Girl, that Ritz-Carlton cruise was amazing. It was tremendous service. That yacht, they call it a yacht. They didn't call it a cruise ship, right? They call it a hotel at sea. They have three of them now, I believe. I know there's two, but I think there's three. Three different Ritz-Carlton yachts out in the world. I've never had service like that in my whole life. It was phenomenal. I got my money's worth, right? I would say if I hadn't. Me and Connie Perry, we lived our lives on that yacht. We got our money's worth. Yeah. When I be looking at my money like, oh, what I do now before, what I would do is book a house sit. That way I don't have to pay for an Airbnb or a place to stay. Book a house sit. That's money in my pocket, right? When my accommodations budget was, let's see, my whole budget used to be $40. I think my accommodations budget was like $16 a day when I was traveling full time. And that house sit would take a lot of pressure off. If I had $1,200 a month to live on, booking a house sit meant that's $16 every day that I'm not spending on accommodation, right? Then my accommodation budget went up to about $2,500 a month. If I'm staying in an Airbnb for a month, Airbnbs are more expensive than just a rental. If I'm staying in an Airbnb or a VRBO or a Marriott vacation villa for a month, my budget was about $2,500 a month. So every house sit, if I could book a house sit for a week, every week was $600 back in my pockets. That's how I look. That is an approach to house sitting for me. That's money back in my pockets. I also just really like house sitting. I like taking care of pets, right? I miss Star, no matter how much she was like, a loner and a hermit. My dog was also a loner and a hermit. Okay. I miss having it's nice to go back to house sitting and have a pet to take care of. I had a pet to sit in your lap, watch a movie with, right? To walk around the neighborhood with. It is nice. I miss it. So I house sit for that reason too. But I also house sit because for me, every week of a house sit was $600. Because either I'm going to book an Airbnb and spend $600 this week on this Airbnb, or I'm going to be in a house sit for a week and not spend $600, right? That summer that I spent in that one house sit in Tampa, that saved me. I think I was there for 8 weeks, 2 months. That's $5,000 in my pockets because I house sat and pet sat in a beautiful luxury home with a housekeeper and a pool and the nicest dogs. There were 3 dogs: Captain, Meadow, the bad one. 4 dogs, but only 3 of them walked. The spoiled dog didn't go for walks. She just pooped in the yard. She wouldn't go for a walk. But anyway, I walked 3 dogs in Tampa in the summertime. It was hot. But absolutely an amazing summer. What a summer. That was an awesome summer, right? I'm sad that I don't have any inclination to spend the summer in the US again. I spent summers in Tampa. I spent summers in the expensive place in California that I just said, Palm Springs. I'm sad that I'm sad that the United States is not a place that I want to be this summer or next summer or the summer after that or the summer after that. But them's the breaks. Everything changes. Everything changes. Sometimes we put things off and we think it's still going to be there when we're ready for it. But everything changes. This is not me pushing you to do things you're not ready to do, but it is a reminder that everything changes. If I had waited to start house sitting until now, my options would be a little different, I think. I don't know. I just wouldn't have experienced that amazing summer. That was an amazing summer. I had my little routine. That was the summer that I tried. What is it y'all be telling me to drink? Vinegar. I ordered that vinegar from Amazon. Is it the red? What is it with the mother? Y'all know, apple cider vinegar. Every day I tried apple cider vinegar that summer. A lot of changes. I decided it wasn't for me. That was a fun summer of trying apple cider vinegar, swimming a lot. I swam a lot in that pool. I told him, I got your money's worth. I don't know if y'all get your money's worth out of this pool, but I got your money's worth. Right? Walking around the little island. I was on Davis Island, a little island in Tampa. What a nice summer that was. House sitting did that for me. I appreciate that. I did the Palm Springs summers. I think I did 2 summers in Palm Springs, but those were broken up house sits, right? 2 weeks here, 3 weeks there. But that was a full summer. I think it was 8 weeks. So it could have been 10 because they took 3 vacations. They did 3 different trips during that whole time. They went from California to Hawaii to Europe, I believe. That they were all over the world. They were worldwide. Yeah. Committed to the journey, lives near Davis Island. There's some beautiful house sits in your area. If you're a friend of animals, if you like cats or dogs or something, pets, there's some beautiful house sits in that area. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Davis Island was nice. And I had my car then. I had a car. I had sold my car to travel full time. My dad bought me what we would call a piece of car. It was a good car, but he bought me a piece of car. And I drove that on that little house sitting summer road trip. So I had a car there. Although they let me, that was the house where they were like, you can use the golf cart to drive around the island. There was grocery stores and restaurants and stuff on the island. They're like, you can use this golf cart to drive around the island. So the day that I go to open up the garage door to get the golf cart out, there's mannequins in the garage. And I am afraid of mannequins. So I closed that door, locked the door, and never pulled that golf cart out of the driveway because they had Halloween. They had like a full Halloween. They had Michael Myers and the Grim Reaper just in the garage. I was like, I can't. There was a tornado and her parents came. And I wish after they left, I was like, I should have asked him to move the golf cart into the other garage because there was two separate garages. I should have asked him to move the golf cart so I could use the golf cart. I forgot. I saw the mannequins and I was like, no, I will not. I should have asked somebody else to back it out, switch the cars, because they left the car, move the Mercedes into there and put the golf cart in the other one so I could do it. Christine said she would have canceled the house. They had all their Halloween stuff just in there, uncovered, all raw and naked Halloween. And I was like, no, I can't. Me and mannequins are not friends. Okay. Yeah, let me drop my Trusted House Sitters link again and my link to my new house sitter toolkit. I still house sit because it's amazing. I'm looking for house sits here in Colombia. I did the wrong thing again. Hold on, let me put the space in. I'm still looking for house sits here in Colombia, even though I'm about to sign my lease. Still looking for house sits because I want to see some other towns. I saw a really nice one not too long ago, but the timing didn't work for me. But I think that's how I'll see copy. That's how I'll see Colombia, other parts of Colombia, by house sitting. Oh, that's smart because I sure wouldn't have. You would have been safe with me. I take a class on how to create my Get Found on YouTube? No, on how to create my No. So I have the Get Found on YouTube masterclass. I didn't take a class to learn how to make it. So on Skillshare, and I would never be able to find that class that I took on Skillshare. But on Skillshare, I learned how to make landing pages, like the actual sales page. But no. I just knew how to break down. A thing that I know how to do is break down something into steps. So I just knew how to break down the masterclass into steps and record it. I'm trying to think of where I would point you. If you wanted to create your own like web masterclass or digital download, who would I point you to teach you how to do it? I don't know. You can book a call with me. We can work it out together. I don't know the link to book with me. I've been doing a whole lot less of that. Between the Exodus ASAP membership and my YouTube challenge, I've done a whole lot less of individual coaching, but I do still have a link. Let me go to my website and find it. Yeah, we can spend some time together working on your masterclass. Book? No, Stephanie. Learn with Stephanie. I don't even have the link to individual coaching on my website anymore. House Sitter, Exodus Summit. YouTube channel. No, that's directly to my channel. Learn with Stephanie. House Sitting, Get Found, 5-Day Challenge, YouTube Success Society. What if I type in call me? Vicarious.com/call me. What is that? Nope, that's not it. Why don't you email me, Stephanie@vicarious.com, and I'll send you a link to book a one-on-one call. I took it. I don't have it anywhere. Yeah, I do very little individual coaching. Now, I like individual coaching, but I often don't do it. Let's see, if you attended my challenge, I don't know who Not Before 10 is. If you came to my YouTube Success Challenge, you have a link in the email with the survey. You have a link to book an individual call with me. Most of my individual calls now are people who book a call with me after they attend my challenge. So then that would be here. If I go, let me start from the beginning. Go to Kajabi. Individual coaching link. Okay. Okay, look. Okay. I have an individual coaching call here. Now, my individual coaching call is just as much as my YouTube Success Challenge. Okay. So if you want 6 weeks of YouTube coach, 6 weeks. If you want 5 days of full YouTube coaching, the YouTube challenge is a better choice. But if you want an hour with me, this is the link to that. Okay. My next YouTube challenge, Clarice and I just set the date for the next YouTube challenge, which will be July 21st through 25th, Monday through Friday. And I believe the sessions will be at 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can get on that wait list. Went over to my calendar and saw it was wrong and had to change it. You can get on the wait list at vicarious.com/challenge. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. The wait list just is a list where you say, hey, when it's time to register for the challenge, send me an email. That's what the wait list is. And so when it's time to register for the July challenge, you'll get an email. If you go to vicarious.com/challenge and get on the wait list, you'll get an email when it's time. So that you don't miss it. Because I keep the numbers small. One time I accidentally didn't put a maximum number of people in the challenge, and I was like, this is hard. This is too hard. Let me put a cap on how many people can come each time. All right. Anything else happening here today? Anything else we need to talk about before? Okay, thank you. Anything else? See you soon. Committed to the journey. See you soon. Anything else we need to talk about or discuss? I'm just scrolling. I need OBS Studio to record your own videos. What do you mean, OBS Studio? I don't know what that is. OBS Studio? I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm okay. I think I can read about mannequins. I can read about it. I just don't want to be in the vicinity of a mannequin. Listen, seriously, here's what happens. I'm not talking about a store mannequin with no face. I'm talking about a mannequin that looks like an actual person. I don't know how to tell a mannequin from an actual person who was sent to kill me. How do I know that's not a real person? And then he can kill me and get away with it, kill all of us and get away with it because people think he's a mannequin. I don't like mannequins with faces. I also don't like when you go in churches and they have scary Jesus. We've talked about this. The scary Jesus in the church. I don't like it. I will go in though, because most Catholic churches are really pretty. You go in there, you take a few pictures. I'm taking some pictures of the ceiling and the whatever, the altar. I'm taking my photos, but I'm keeping my eye on scary Jesus. He's not going to sneak up on me. How do you know the difference between a mannequin and an assassin? Seriously, serious question. I don't like mannequins. Not mannequins. Out of store mannequins, I don't care. If they don't have a real face, if they don't look like a real person, I don't care. There's a difference. There's a difference. Statues, I don't care. I've been in museums where they sneak mannequins up in you on you. You be in a museum like, oh, this is beautiful. This is nice. And you turn a corner and there's a mannequin dressed up in the local costume of the people. Now I gotta be on guard. Be ready to elbow this mannequin in the throat. You shouldn't surprise people with mannequins. What museum was I at last time? Had to be someplace in Costa Rica. They're showing me the this and the that and the textiles and the things. You turn the corner and there's a mannequin. Why did he have to? Couldn't you just put the clothes in a case, a display case? I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't care for scary Jesus. But I will go in. I'll go into Catholic churches. I know he's there. Every Catholic church has scary Jesus inside there. I'll go in because I'm taking my pictures. I love pictures inside of churches. I know Rashida, Adelia, people be like, I've done enough. I've seen enough churches and temples, and I don't need to go in anymore. I'm going in every one. Every one. There was a church, the Airbnb that I just stayed in. There was just a regular church diagonal from me, a Catholic church. They had a lot of funerals there. And I was like, I'm going in. When can I go in? I'm going in. I love going in churches. I love it. But I know he's in there watching me. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So this is just going to confirm, it's just going to affirm me. I think the story is just going to affirm me. Yeah, wax museums. Mm-mm. So this may have popped off. This fear, this problem of mine might have popped off. I went to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore. in college, and we took a trip. We took a field trip in college, and we went to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore. And so there's, just like it sounds, there's famous Black people, wax museum of them. And then the bottom of the museum is a slave ship. And that field trip changed things for me. I don't wear watches. I have not been able to wear things around my wrist since then. Seeing the little tiny shackles, they had adult size shackles and they had child size shackles in the bottom of that slave ship. And then of course they have like sounds playing, chains and sounds playing. And that, my ancestors felt that. Excuse me. Somebody inside of here was like, this is familiar. And I haven't worn a watch since. Excuse me. I can't wear watches or bracelets. I will wear a jelly bracelet, like I can wear jelly bracelets. I can't wear metal on my wrists. As soon as it's on, I'm just like, get it off me, get it off me. So maybe the mannequin thing, I've never really thought about the mannequin. I always thought the mannequin thing was like, just, there are a lot of people who don't like mannequins. Fake people. It's like the uncanniness of it being a fake person. It looks like a person, but it's not a person. I think that's a pretty normal phobia or fear for people. But the wrist thing, from that day forward, I have not worn a watch, not one. I have not worn a metal on my wrist. I can't do it. I had just bought this Coach bracelet. It was, I feel like it was leather or something, but it had metal on it. And every time I paid, I think I paid $200 as a college student who was a telemarketer. I paid $200, I think, for that bracelet. And I couldn't wear it. I just, every second it was on me. All I would just, take it off me, take it off me, take it off me. Couldn't do it. That's how that is a reality that more people should be faced with. One of the things about the Great Blacks and Wax Museum is that it's for Black people. A lot of things about slavery and history are for white people to go back and relive their glory days. But a thing that the Great Blacks and Wax Museum, it was for Black people. It was a little bit to like remind you that these white people are not good people, and you need to remember that. This is how you got here. Maybe that's also a reason why I don't have a problem leaving the United States. Sometimes we need to see things in more reality, in a more vivid depiction of the reality, so that you can understand that that country is not your home. Those people are not your people. That place is not your place. Maybe that Great Blacks and Wax Museum was a helpful thing to me because we need to see the reality. It's one thing to be told, and it's one thing to carry it in you. But I promise you, that museum, it spoke to me. The people who were in me, the people who created me, they recognized that place, that space, that feeling, the sounds, the look, the horror. They recognized that. And maybe that's one of the reasons that it's so easy for me to say, leave the country. That's not your place. That's not your home. It's never going to be a good place for you. Never, ever, never. I know that. I feel that. They feel that. We feel that. I have no problem expressing that. Maybe more of y'all should head to the, it's awful. It's not a fun experience. It's awful. But it's reality. So, but one of the basic things it did is I can't wear things around my wrist except for little jelly bracelets. I never will. I don't think I'll ever be able to. Never again. Them shackles, somebody in here recognize that feeling, that sound. When you go back, is it 10 generations? You have 1,000 ancestors, right? 2 grandparents, 4 great grandparents, 8 great great grandparents, 16, 32, 64, 128. You only need to go back, I think it's, I can't go any, 256, 500 and whatever, 1,000, right? So that's only that many generations. 1,000 of my ancestors who made it across the water. 1,000 people who made it across the water and then created my great, 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 great grandparents, my great, great, great grandparents, my great, great grandparents, my great grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, and me. They don't want me in the United States. They don't belong in the US, and neither do I. They didn't get there. It was not a nice experience. Getting there, living there, building that place. Not near none of them. Not near none of those 1,000 people who made it across the water to make me and my family. Not near none of them. It's like, oh, girl, stay. We built this place. We built this country. So you should, not near none of them. I know that. I don't hear them. I don't hear them. I know there are people who feel like they commune with the ancestors. I don't hear them. But they in here. They in here. I don't know what ways they guide me in my life. But I know not near none of those 1,000 people thinks the United States of America is home. Not near one of those 1,000 people wants me to keep struggling there. I know that. I may not hear them. I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I may not hear them, but I know that much. I don't know what y'all's people want for you, but it's probably the same. Some of those 1,000 people are also your people. Some of the very same 1,000. Some of the same 1,000. Some of us have those in common. Right? They're the same people. They want the same. Only 1 million? I'm saying only. I don't mean to shrink the number, but what I'm saying is I think how many people actually came across the water to make us, all of us, all Black Caribbeans, all Black Americans, all of us who were on this side, right? All of the descendants of the enslaved people. We're all the descendants of the same few people, right? It wasn't as many as you would think. It was a lot. And I don't mean to say it wasn't bad. I'm saying the numbers, we all got the same ancestors, same several million, maybe several million people who came across the water, created all of us. So I know if my people don't want me in the United States, your people don't want you there either. Let it go, let it burn. Not near none of them. Not near none of them. When I was in that bottom of that slave ship, not near none of them was like, well, at least it led us to whatever people be saying. It wasn't that bad. It was a choice. Not near none of them. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know, in my own life, I don't know how. I do think I can see the future a little bit. So maybe that's them. I don't know. My mom, she thinks she can see the future, but she's not good at it. She's not good like me. But I don't know. I don't, it's not like I don't see them. I don't audibly hear them. But they in here and I know good and well they're not talking some, this is our home. We built this place for you. No, indeed. Girl, go. Go. I don't understand the argument. People don't, I think people enough, not enough Black people have really thought about enslavement. Maybe is that the problem? Girl, please says some say they won't leave because their ancestors built this country, but they were enslaved. They didn't have a choice. They didn't come here and say, let's build this place for my future generations. Right? They didn't have I don't know. People don't think about what slavery was. Right? Because if I was like, so in the Middle East, some of us have been to Dubai. In Dubai, let me drink some water. In Dubai, first of all, Dubai, the city itself, didn't exist until pretty recently. It's like Las Vegas. It just sprung up out of the desert. It wasn't like it's not a city with a cultural history. So to build this place out of nothing, people were brought or came from all over Southeast Asia, a lot of poor Southeast Asian people, a lot of Filipinos, a lot of Indians, a lot of brown people, a lot of Southeast Asian people went to the Middle East to build it and still continue to go to the Middle East to work to grow it. Probably also Black people as well. But what you see when you go there and see workers, you see a lot of Asian people. Now, some of those people, even though it's 2025, are working like enslaved people. They get there and the employer takes their passport, takes their access to leave, right? Might take all identification from them. They're working without a say anymore. They can't leave. Not only can they not leave the country, they can't leave the job. That's a pretty common life for years and years for a lot of Asian people in Dubai. Now, imagine that Asian worker, right? Imagine something happens in Dubai, maybe a natural disaster or something, or the government starts to collapse or something. Imagine that worker saying, well, I built this country. I need to stay here and fix it. No, you would tell that person, get up. This is your opportunity to leave. You wouldn't say, oh, you got to stay here and fix this country. Y'all built this country. You got to stay and fix it. You would say, girl, they did you dirty. It's your chance. Go. Get up out of here. Whether you go back where you came from or you go someplace else, it's time for you to go. You wouldn't say, well, you got to help them rebuild. You built it the first time. You got to help them rebuild. No, you wouldn't. I don't think you would. I think some of us just don't have a real clear picture of what it meant to buy human people, right? Well, some of our ancestors, some of the people sold us, right? We were sold and just to go buy people to build a country, knowing good and well you don't want them to stay. And so you're going to set up every system to legally murder, to incarcerate, to cause their early death, and to illegally murder them illegally or illegally. That was the plan all along. The plan all along was for us, our ancestors, to come here, build this country, which in turn built the world. Capitalism did not exist until the transatlantic slave trade, right? When people talk about the birth of capitalism, and they talk about the tulip bulbs in Amsterdam, those Dutch people got rich building slave ships. That's how they could spend those millions of dollars on a tulip bulb. Capitalism didn't exist until the transatlantic slave trade. So you got there was never a plan for this country to be a country with black and brown and white and whatever people and Asian people. It was always a place being built for white people. We were never supposed to still be here, first of all. We were never supposed to still be here. We definitely weren't supposed to have civil rights, which is why when that black woman lawyer was telling Julesy that the civil rights movement was something about something, something, I'm like, that doesn't even sound right. There was no law written for us until the civil rights movement. I don't understand the argument of my people built this country, so I'm going to stay. Because they didn't choose it. They didn't choose it. You sound ridiculous. I never know whether to take that argument seriously or not, because there are things that people will say to derail a conversation. I don't know if that's a conversation derailer on purpose or if people actually believe that. But I think if you actually believe that, it's because you haven't really thought about slavery. You haven't really thought about what that was. Imagine imagine buying a child today. Imagine today there's a woman in South Africa who was just convicted of selling her daughter, right? Imagine you go and you buy a child or an adult, you buy a person and you make that person dig up your backyard and put in a swimming pool. And they're enslaved and they don't have rights. If maybe there's two of them, they have a baby together, and then you sell the baby to somebody else, right? And then you tell those people, okay, well, you built this swimming pool, now you got to maintain it. You can never leave here. You got to maintain it now. We don't have a picture of what slavery was. We don't have a picture. Some people are kind of visual, they're visual learners. Maybe the visual learners need to go see some little tiny shackles. Because that argument sounds ridiculous. We were never supposed to be here. We were never supposed to stay here. They were just going to keep us, if they couldn't keep us working in the fields, they were just going to kill us off. This was not a country being built for us. People say that as if this country was being built for us. It was not. It was not. If you buy a human person and you make that person dig up your swimming pool, you then don't expect that person is going to be able to enjoy swimming in the pool. It wasn't for them. They didn't build that for them. You tell them to get on, get out, go away. You don't then say, oh, I built this swimming pool, let me swim in it. No, you don't. It doesn't make sense. Does Dr. King agree with me? What do you think about this, Dr. King? What do you think about this? If you don't know, this when I came to tour this co-living space, I picked this room because it's the highest up room. It's the furthest away from everything. And it has an en-suite bathroom. A lot of the other rooms in this house have a private bathroom, but it's not in the room. You have to go out in the hallway to go to that private bathroom. And so I picked this room, and there happened to be 2 pictures of Dr. Martin Luther King in this room. So I tried my hardest to keep him covered up because I don't want it to seem like he is endorsing my words. I'm trying to block him with my head. So it doesn't seem like Dr. King is like, she's right. I'm a house sitter. You need to understand, okay? These are thoughts that I've been thinking, okay? These words do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you, okay? But I'm like, what do you think about this? When that lady was like, the civil rights movement was just demanding that the government abide by the laws already on the books. I'm like, girl, what books? What laws? What laws do you think were on the books before the civil rights movement that we would want enforced? Not many. Girl, the civil rights movement is how the laws were written. What y'all talking about out here? Everybody in the comments was like, what kind of lawyer is she? What is she talking about? What is she talking? Yeah. You know how they be like, are the laws in the room with us right now? What laws do you mean? What rights did we have before the movement? If you can't compare these two movements, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't compare this, if you can't see the similarities between a movement for civil rights for Black people and a movement for rights for what we call immigrants, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What I'll tell you is you spent too much time with these white people. You're losing your soul. You acting like them. You're losing the soul. Lost the plot. Lost the plot. If you don't see similarities, if you don't feel a common thread among colonized people around the world, if you don't feel that from your heart to theirs, I don't know what to tell you. Them white people got you. You lost your soul. You lost your soul. I don't know who it was that said that. That's what the soul is. The soul, we think of the soul as something, but the soul is the connection from person to person, from human to human. I think there are people who have no souls. I think you can gain the world and lose your soul. That's what my Bible told me. Right? You can gain the world and lose your souls. And I think that is what has happened to the colonizer. I think that's what white people are today. I think they are soulless people. They don't feel a connection from person to person. And I guess it can rub off on you. Their approach to things anyway. Maybe you still have a soul, but you're living like you don't have a soul. It's rubbing off on you. Right? That's why I said what they call immigrants, because they were here. They were here. Explain to me the difference between a Native American and a Mexican. Quickly, what is the difference? And a Native Canadian, they call them First Nation people. Explain the difference quickly. There ain't no difference. But white people in the United States. So imagine, okay, you go to a place, you steal the land, you massacre the people, you enslave other people to build the land, you extract all the wealth from that land and from lands all over the world, right? You have to be very paranoid, right? You have to become very closed off to the rest of the world, to other people. You have to be very afraid that Mexicans and Native Americans and First Nation people are about to unite. Imagine how afraid they are of Mexicans and Hondurans and Choctaw and Nanacoke. In Delaware were Nanacoke Indians. Imagine the fear that those people are coming together. Imagine how afraid they are of that. Maybe that would explain what's happening. Maybe that would explain what these so-called immigration laws and changes are about. Because they're the same people. They all the same people. If African tribes are of one people, so are these people. They're the same people. And white people are terrified that one day they're going to act like it, right? White people are terrified that one day they're going to get together, right? Maybe that's the root of all of this. If you don't see some parallels between this and the Black civil rights movement, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. I guess we kind of did circle back to the original topic. I think we kind of did circle. Fear, right? Fear of the consequences of your actions is at the root of all of this. Maybe if they had done things the right way to begin with, they would be in wherever they came from, satisfied. But instead, white people are, their lives are fear. They're armed to the teeth, which means that we have to be armed to the teeth. I'm not anti-gun. I'm not anti-gun, right? If white people have guns, black people need to have guns. Understand that. Which is why I live in a place where they don't do that. They don't do that. They don't have guns here. Okay. But they imagine the fear. I used the word paranoia earlier, but paranoia, I think, means unfounded. Let's see. Paranoia, unjustified suspicion, unwarranted or delusional belief. I don't think white people are paranoid. I think they have a better, I think, so speaking of the fact that some black people don't have a good handle on what slavery was, I think white people are more equipped to understand it. I think they have a better grasp on what the repercussions should be for them. And that's why they're so terrible. That's why they have to act so terrible. Because if their consequences, if they were made to pay the consequence, they couldn't handle it. If white people were actually made to pay if they were made to face the consequences of their actions, it would be the end of them. That is why they're so terrible. They have to be terrible, or they have to face the consequences. And they don't want to face the consequences. I think they have a better handle on things than we do. They have a better handle on how bad it was and how far the pendulum would have to swing. They know. They might pretend they don't know. They might talk that talk about that was generations ago. What's that got to do with me? But they know. That's why they talk that talk. Because they do not want those repercussions. They don't want it. And they've convinced us that we don't want them to face those repercussions. They've convinced us that it's our responsibility to shield them from those repercussions. Stay woke. Friends, what do you think about that, Dr. King? Stay woke. They've convinced Black people that it's our job to make sure that the white people don't face the consequences of their actions. They've convinced us that it's our job to protect them. Convinced. Some Black people are convinced that it's their job to save the United States of America as it stands today. There are Black people who will die for it. Had Kamala Harris been elected, she would die for that, right? Whether she died quickly or later, her life was going to be shortened because of the work that she was doing. There are Black people who are willing to die to save the United States because white people have convinced them that it's Black people's responsibility to shield them from the repercussions that are coming for them. But not me, because girl, I'm in Colombia. I'm in Bogota. Set yourself free. You can liberate yourself from that. You can liberate yourself from that. Isn't that what Rich Auntie says? Wait a minute. So it's our job to protect them from the consequences of what they've done. Isn't that what Black people in the United States are doing? All Black people in government, isn't that what they're doing? All Black people in the struggle, isn't that what they're doing? All Black people who are today working to uphold the United States of America, Isn't that what they're doing? Tell me if I'm wrong. That is the role of the government today, is to uphold the United States of America, to keep it. We can't let it crumble. Isn't that what it is? If not, then what is it? If it's not that, then what is it? Tell me. I'm asking a question. Tell me. I'm a house sitter. These are thoughts that I've been thinking. There are Black Zionists. There are Black Zionists. Like, you're living out the negative impacts of colonialism, of colonization. And yet here you are on the colonizer side, talking about some Israel this and Israel that. There are Black Zionists. Every Black Democrat, as far as I know, is also a Black Zionist. As much as we appreciate the work that some of the things that they've done, they're Black Zionists. They believe that it's these white people's right to go back and claim a land by massacring the people who are already there. They're massacring Palestinians, and they're Black people on the side of the Zionists. What else is that except for protecting white people from the consequences of their actions? This is my mom. Good morning, Mom. What else is it? If you're a Black person who cannot see yourself in the Palestinian people, you've lost that cord, that thread, that soul. If you look at that situation and you see you're siding with the Zionists and not the Palestinians, I'm saying Zionists specifically because not all Jews are Zionists and not all Zionists are Jews, because they are Black Zionists. Lots of the Democratic Party, all the Black people in the Democratic Party today are on the side of the colonizer. They're okay with bombing Palestinians to smithereens because white people said, this is our land. God wants us to have this land. Thank you. What else is that except for shielding white people from the consequences of their actions? That's why last week when I said, don't blame Black women for what's happening today, I didn't want to vote for them people. I played the lesser of two evils game like y'all did. And I went back and I voted for them people. I voted for the Black people. Okay. I didn't want to. I happened to be in Delaware on election day. I voted, and I voted for the Democratic Party. But all parties in the United States their main goal is to uphold the United States of America as it is today, and to shield white people from the consequences of their actions. That's what it is. That's what it is. It is what it is. Okay. I said last week, don't say it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. And then just so in the bill that'll be signed into law sometime soon, a whole lot of land that has been protected is going to be sold to the highest bidder, right? Any progress that was made, I'm not a person here to speak for Native Americans, but any progress that was made about to be yanked out from under them. Any land they had been given, don't count on it, because these white people are terrified of facing any repercussion. They're terrified that Native Americans, Native Central Americans, Native South Americans, Native North Americans, they're terrified of these people getting together because those consequences are going to be Too great. They want the benefits of what they did and not the consequences. They want the money. They want the resources. They want the land. They don't want the anger of the brown and black people. They don't want the wrath. And they've set us up to protect them from that wrath, from those repercussions, from those consequences. They're not idiots. So Nichelle, they're not idiots. Nichelle said that idiots are, no, idiot is a hilarious word. It's one of my favorite words. It's actually exploring how to deport Native Americans. They're not idiots. They're people aware that they don't want to face the consequences of their actions. Okay. They're well aware that they stole this land from those people. And they don't want those people to have any power. They're not idiots. They know what they're doing. They seem dumb because Black people have a hard time accepting that people are that horrible. As people with souls, with a thread from person to person, as people with souls, it's really hard to believe that they are what they are, but they are what they are. I'm not saying that they're not also idiots, but they're powered by greed. They're powered by capitalism. They're powered by colonialism. They're powered by white supremacy more than they're powered by idiocy. They'll accept idiots into the fold, of course, because they need numbers. But their power, it's not idiotic if there's a grand master plan, which is America for white people, right? Their plan, like Idi Amin said, Africa for Africans, right? These people are saying America for whites. That's not idiocy. It's white supremacy. It's greed. It's the capitalist power structure. It's all those, it's patriarchy, it's all of those things. It's not idiocy if you have a plan. We have a hard time grasping. Okay. So another thing, we have a hard time grasping what slavery actually was sometimes. We also have a hard time grasping how terrible these people are and have been. But if you breed a hunting dog and a hunting dog, you're going to get a superior hunting dog. Right? If you breed a greedy, murderous capitalist and a greedy, murderous capitalist and a Nazi greedy, murderous, right? You breed those people together, you get a terrible person. We have a hard time with that. We have a hard time understanding how bad they are, but they're bad people. I've been all over the world. I've been everywhere, but I've been all over the world. I've been all over the world. These white people in the United States, they're different. They're bred. It's a different thing. You cross-bred the wrong groups of people. You've got a terrible person. That white American person is a terrible person. Stick around them if you want to. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. There are idiots in the mix, but they have a plan. Those people have a plan. And it's a plan based on saving themselves, shielding themselves from facing the consequences of their actions. As long as you support them, you're also shielding them from the consequences of their actions. Okay. How do we bring this mood up? Do you want to talk about earthquakes some more? Do we need to talk about earthquakes a little more? So I told you the great news. I got my lease from the lady. It's with the attorneys who are helping me get residency in Bogota. So I expect to sign the lease. She wrote on the lease that we'll sign it on the 25th. So I'll get the info back from the attorneys, just confirming that there's nothing in the lease that is unusual. I don't live in Colombia. I don't know what's usual and unusual in a lease. Also, I speak Spanish like a 3-year-old. So trying to read the lease in Spanish and then translate the lease, trusting, Google Translate to translate the lease was not the smartest idea. So I did let Rashida Dow, my friend, I did let her convince me to send my lease to the lawyer. So I expect to sign that next week and have my own apartment in Bogota. And then next will be residency in Bogota, or, not residency, but my digital nomad visa in Bogota, in Colombia. So lots of new changes. Yes. Closed kitchen. Okay. I'm not an open kitchen kind of girly. This kitchen is behind a door. Listen, I don't live the kind of life where visitors, I don't mean strangers. I don't live the kind of life where visitors to my home should be able to see my kitchen. I'm not cleaning up my kitchen until the housekeeper comes. Thank you. And so it's got a closed kitchen. The kitchen and dining room are closed off from the living room. And it's got an entry hallway, which is a thing I've never had in either of my homes, which I love. It's got an entry hallway, so you don't just open the door and you're in the unit. It does not have a private elevator. A lot of apartments in Colombia, in Bogota, because of the way the buildings are structured, the elevator opens right into your unit. One unit on each floor. There'll be like 2 elevators in a building back to back. And the elevator, you get on your elevator for your floor and it opens up into your unit. I didn't get that. I'm in an older building. Those buildings that seem to have started around the 2000s, and my building was built in the 80s, I believe. But there's not a private elevator. But yeah, it is nice. It is a nice apartment. It's old, wood floors, crown molding. It's old. I love an old building. I toured and visited a lot of newer apartments in Bogota. And, floors, sometimes they feel like paper and vinyl. They do a lot of vinyl flooring here or something. And is it vinyl or what's the other word? Laminate? You know how you be walking on, you like, it feels like paper. Got me a nice, no offense to you if your apartment feels like paper, but I wanted heavy hardwood floors. Got nice wood floors. That's about it. That's about all. It's a duplex apartment, 2 stories. Penthouse. So they call it a penthouse. Penthouse apartment. Balconies, 3 separate balconies. Not a terrace. I wanted the 2 of the things that I gave up for price, for price purposes. I don't have the elevator that opens into my unit, and I don't have a full terrace. I have 3 regular sized balconies. 1 is small and 2 regular sized balconies. But I'm so excited to be there. The elevator feels too intrusive. I don't know, it feels pretty luxury to get off the elevator and you're in. They have a separate door. You can keep the door open or closed. The one that we stayed in, Rashida and I stayed in a unit that had that, an Airbnb that had that. And there's a door that you can keep open or closed. Because it's a security building with a doorman, we kept ours open. And there was a problem with the lock anyway. We kept ours open. So when the elevator door opened, we were in our apartment. It feels very rich. It feels very rich, but that's not what I have. Mine opens into a hallway. I think that'll be good. It'll be nice for me to know my neighbors. As a hermit, as a person who would just lock herself away in her apartment, it's probably for the best that I have to go out into the hallway a little bit, right? That I might meet some people in the elevator and be like, "Hi, my name is Stephanie." It's probably for the best. But that is a Bogota thing. I think I saw, so Rashida and I stayed in one, and then I viewed another one that had that. But you see them on the listings. They'll be like escalera privada, private elevator. You can get it. You can get it in Bogota, right? Because I wanted the other things, sometimes you got to sacrifice. I wanted the price. The price was more important than when it became time to like put where the rubber meets the road, and it's time to stop looking at apartments and time to pick up an apartment, I'm like, I'm not going to the top of my budget. I've been taught enough by my friend Rashida, by my friend Adelia. I need to listen to them and not go to the top, the very max of my budget. Because even now, the conversion rate, like the US dollar is losing on the peso. So even now, like by the time I sign the lease, the rent that I'll have to pay for the first time is more than it would have been had I rented last month. You know what I'm saying? Conversion rates change, inflation happens. So I just was like, let me not go to the top of my budget. But the elevator, yeah, it's a trade-off. Thank you. Donna says, not a sacrifice, Stephanie. Calm down. It's just a trade-off. Yeah. So I traded off. I don't have the private elevator. I have plenty of bedrooms. I got plenty of bedrooms in a nice building in a walkable part of town that is amazing. I'm really excited to make this my official home. I'm very excited. Okay. Okay. Yes. So I know Andrietta is a little bit behind in the conversation, but I do want you to know that I've made the distinction between a Zionist and a Jew, a Zionist and a whatever. There's plenty of Black Zionists who are not Jewish, but they believe in whatever. I do make that distinction, and I hope I made that clear earlier. Okay. All right. Friends, thank you so kindly for hanging out this weekend. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, Carol. I'm sorry. Super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. I hope you're still here. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you so much. You've got 2 super stickers. Thank you, Carol. That money goes to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund, just like the money from my merch shop. This hoodie gives Black women a break. Proceeds go to give Black women a break. Give Black women cash money so they don't have to work. Thank you for contributing to that. All right, friends. Okay, replay gang, thank you for being here. I hope things are amazing in the future. Hello, friends in the future. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching. Before you go, friends, hit the like button on this video. And I know we covered a lot, but if you think there's somebody you know who might like to watch it, share it with her. If there's a particular point, you can share and tell her where in the video to fast forward to, or where in the video to stop. Sometimes I'll be like, don't watch the last half hour. Okay, we went off the rails. You may need to share some disclaimers based on what we covered today, but feel free to share this video with a Black woman you know who would be interested in this conversation, interested in this community, interested in spending some time with us. Okay, friends? All right. Thank you kindly. I hope I'll see you guys again very soon. I don't think I have a guest scheduled for next week, but that I do have a very special guest the Saturday after. Let me look on my calendar. Next Saturday is the 28th. we may have a guest. We may have a special guest coming to join us on the 28th. I need to confirm with her. And then I have an amazing takeover that you're not going to want to miss on July 5 on my birthday. Okay. Nice to see you all. Have a wonderful day. Hope you had a restful Juneteenth. See you guys again. Bye.